Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Duck here once again. Right, got another review slash thoughts on here for you, and I feel like I've been doing quite well in terms of doing pretty much like several videos a week at this point, you know? Maybe it's something to do with living alone, maybe I'm going a little bit crazy, maybe instead of talking to a flatmate I feel like I have to talk to the camera and convince myself that the camera is my friend and will hear me talk about useless shit, so who knows, who knows? I'm not going mental, honest. Anyway, review slash thoughts on, we are going to talk about Gravity Rush, a 2-year-old PS Vita game, in fact, just to show that I'm legit in my discussions, I got the original one right here. Yeah, Sony was like, you know, I'm pretty sure I said this when I reviewed like Tearaway Unfolded for the PS4, you know? It was like, yeah, Sony was like, okay, we're sorry we put this on the Vita, because it's a good game. Here's a PS4 version. So, yeah, it really is pretty much exactly the same thing, only whereas Tearaway Unfolded was more of like a sort of reimagining of what was on the Vita, you know, and very, very different in terms of like completely changing up the control scheme and adding whole new levels and stuff. This one is actually more of a full-on remake, you know. Now, Gravity Rush was like, I remember when I played Tearaway and Gravity Rush on the Vita actually, I was convinced that I liked Tearaway more, you know, because I'm more into 3D platformers and all that, even though they were both great games. But now that I've played both games on the PS4, I think I'm sliding a bit more towards Gravity Rush. It's like, it feels really good on the PS4, not gonna lie. And I'm very glad because it's like when you're playing it on the Vita, you do actually get that sense that, oh shit, the Vita is holding this game back. You know, I'm sure many people disagree with that, but seriously, there was one of my absolute least favourite things about that game. I don't even know if you could actually change it, but one of the moves that Kat, the main character in this game, can do is a sort of gravity slide where you hold the shoulder buttons down and she just like zooms forward. Well, on the Vita, you had to like tilt it in order for her to actually like turn in that, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing these missions. It was mostly optional, but I was like, nah, no chance. That and like, to do like a dodge attack, you had to swipe the screen when you were like moving and hitting buttons. You had to go, oh, I got a dodge. It was awful. It was really bad. And now that's assigned to a button on the PS4, and you can actually use the analog stick to turn when you're sliding. So, you know, little things like that. You can use motion controls for aiming and stuff if you want. You know, the option is there with the DualShock 4, but I think it feels really, really well without it, honestly. But yeah, like, graphically it runs 60 FPS really nice. I don't think the Vita version did. And yeah, it's like, in some ways you can tell it's like, yeah, this was on the Vita, but in other ways it looks like a proper PS4 game, yeah. You know, and it's just a really, really good HD port, you know. Really well priced as well. I got this for like 20 quid, you know. It was I don't even think Tearaway Unfolded was a bit more pricey than that, but this was a slightly better value, I think. Tearaway Unfolded is still amazing, right? I definitely recommend both games incredibly, especially if you don't have a Vita, you know. But you know, it's like, it's funny, I had to remind myself, I had to go back on like my Scottish DuckTales account and say, have I reviewed Gravity Rush before? Because I literally could not remember. And apparently I talked about it in like a my favourite games of the year video, where I did put it on there back in 2013. At least I think it was 2013. Could be 2012, I don't know, right? It was a while ago and I enjoyed it anyway. So, let's actually talk about the game. You play as a girl called Kat, amnesia because that's convenient, and yeah, she can manipulate gravity. That's the sort of gimmick of the game. And you do this by just hit the button and she will levitate in midair, and you can like either tilt the controller or, if you're sensible, use the analog stick to sort of point in a direction, press the button again, and poof, gravity will shift in that direction. Doesn't matter if there's a wall there, you will simply stand up on the wall and start walking, or the more fun way, and probably the way you'll be using it most, you'll be using it to smash yourself into enemies a lot, because it's like, that's pretty much how you do combat in this game, which you will do a lot, admittingly. Yeah, that really is the sort of gimmick that carries the game. Other than that, it's just your sort of other open world superhero game. You know, a bit like Infamous actually. Infamous obviously had its gimmick with shooting the lightning and shit. You know, this one has that sort of gimmick as well, and I think that one's probably a bit more creative, I guess. I mean, the whole gravity shifting thing, there's not really much to it, but it's like, it's you know, it's a wee bit interesting and fresh and all that, you know, and I can appreciate that. What else is there to say? I guess like one of the weaker things about this game, especially after playing it for the second time, is the game's story. You know, it's like it's a very weird story, very weirdly written. You know, I don't get this that much. You know, where I come across sort of a game story and it's like I'm reading the dialogue, watching the cutscenes and all that, and it's like I know there's something wrong with it, but I can't put my finger on it. You know, there's just a lot of little things like characters don't really act. They all act kind of weird, like infamously. I remember I bitched about like this on Twitter, and I'll bitch about it here, right? Right at the beginning of the game, Cat is asked by some old get to like go save his son because his son's about to die because their house is gonna get sucked up by a big fucking black hole, right? So Cat, being the protagonist, is like, I'll save him, and he goes to save the wee boy, okay? And their fucking house is up there, getting sucked up by the black hole, but then it comes back down and falls off the edge. And Cat, rather cutely actually, tries to like grab the house and stop it from falling, but she's a fucking lassie, you know, she's not gonna lift up the house, so the house falls down. And she sort of like turns to the father and the son, who are now reacquainted. You know, the son was living, and just sort of giggles with her hands scratching behind her head in that sort of like anime way that you get. And yeah, all of a sudden you get this really dark turn where the father and the son are like, you destroyed our house. She just saved their fucking lives, and now they're like chewing it at her about fucking destroying the house. But she didn't destroy the house, she tried to save it. There was no way she could. It's wee things like that, right? It's wee things like that. It's like, you just get characters and they act kind of weird, okay? It's just, I don't even know how to describe it, but that always sticks out to me. That father and that son are a couple of cunts, and I hate them. Whew, I'm glad I could rant about that. What else to talk about? It's a decent length as well, you know, like about 20 chapters long. Each chapter has like a sort of main mission, and there's loads of like little side missions you can do, because you have to collect gems as well to level up Cat's abilities, you know. All that sort of standard stuff from your sort of like open world adventure game. What else to talk about? The music is really good actually. There's more than a few tracks that stick out to me, you know, like some really good stuff there. And I guess one other sort of thing I could say about the sound is that it's one of those games where they're like, let's make up our own language and see how that goes. And yeah, there's not that much spoken dialogue in the game, and when they do, it's like their own language. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I mean, me, myself, growing up on games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus that have their own language and stuff, I should be more privy to this, but at the same time it's like, why don't you just talk normal? I don't know. So yeah, that leads us to Gravity Rush 2, which I did make a video on as soon as it got announced, you know, because I was just really happy that this franchise is going to continue, you know, like, I mean, the Vita being the Vita, you know, you wouldn't think any franchise that originated on it would like go places after that, but sure enough, Tearaway got ported. Now Gravity Rush has got ported as well, and that series is getting more life, and I'm really glad. I'm really glad. I really do genuinely like this game, guys. Definitely recommend it, especially for the price you get it at. You know, it's like 20 quid. That's a good damn price, you know. But yeah, I think that's about it. You know, like. There's going to be something I'm going to forget to talk about. We'll just pretend that there's nothing left to talk about. Yeah, that's that. So, yeah, that's that, guys. See you after. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.